Today I decided to join a solidarity walk in the town of Aurora, and it was wonderful to see a lot of young people. And I must say that I felt hope when I noticed that 90% of the people that were out there were not people of African descent. Since the George Floyd situation happened, I wanted to say something about it. But each time I wanted to say something, I felt like my words would betray my heart. And this is because it is hard to find the right words at this time to express how I feel. The last few weeks have been traumatizing. I have felt trapped mentally, physically, emotionally, and in more ways than one. And had to have discussions with my kids who have experienced racism in so many ways. I've had to discuss this with my daughter, who had 2 kids expelled because of her, because these 2 kids perpetually, continuously were racist against my daughter in school. And at some point, she did not want to go to school. Now, as a person of African heritage, when you see what is happening right now, you feel like your existence is under trial. When your life is not valued, you feel like your existence is under trial. When you work so hard and you still have to beg to be recognized, to be validated, and to be given an opportunity, you feel like your life is under trial. When I went out on the walk today, there were so many signs, and I was reading a lot of the signs. I decided to go with this sign that says, "Do not look away, act now." You know, Martin Luther King said that at the end, we remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. I know a lot of people at this particular point in time are looking away. This is not a time to look away. This is the time when silence is betrayal. Silence is saying to the perpetrators of this injustice that they did the right thing, that they're doing the right thing. You know, when one life is not valued, all lives are not valued. When one life is not valued, all lives are under trial. As a person of African heritage, I have felt multiple emotions at this time. And I must say that our people have been through so much, from slavery to colonialism to anti-Black racism. Right now, we have every reason to be angry. We have every reason to be angry when that name that sounds Black sends out a resume and gets an email back that says regrettably. We have the right to be angry when our ancestors were uprooted from their land and taken, enslaved in another land. We have the right to be angry when our kids go out and do not come back alive. We have the right to be angry as Black mothers when our kids are told that they're not enough. We have the right to be angry when we are often rejected because of the color of our skin. We have the right to be angry when we're told that our talent is not enough. Now, I have a message for all people. You have to educate yourself about racism. You have to educate yourself about the experiences of other people. And I'd like to speak to leaders, political leaders, corporate leaders, religious leaders, pastors, imams, teachers. It is time to have a conversation, this hard conversation with your people. This is a time to invest in unconscious bias training. It is time to speak to your congregation, to your students, and to make sure that everyone is facing this situation right now. It's the only way we can heal, the only way we can get through this without feeling trapped by it, is to talk about it, is to do something about it, is to put systems in place to make sure that this never happens again. Too many lives have been lost. This is not a time to look away. This is a time to act. This is a time for the entire world to act. Speak to your elected officials. Tell them what they need to do now. We have to get rid of systemic racism. And I must say to parents out there, the conversations that you have around the dinner table with your kids matter. When you make a comment before your kids about other races that are wrong, you are training their young minds to be racist. If you're somewhere and you see injustice happen, do something about it. If the other three police officers had done something about what happened to George Floyd, he would still be with us today. Do not look the other way. We can legislate, we can do things to change the systemic racism, but we cannot legislate hearts. My question for you is your heart in the right place? Is your heart in the right place? And the last thing I just want to say is that love conquers all. Love conquers all. Let's love one another. Let's appreciate one another. And let's remember that one life not valued is all lives not valued.
You have to challenge the status quo. You have to question your parents, your friends, your coworkers, your family, and you have to be ready to have the uncomfortable conversations. Nobody's suggesting these conversations are easy to have, but we have to have them. We have to stand together. Black Lives Matter too.